Hi guys, we're back here today with another video and we're going to be looking at the Genesis. Now, I still am a Nintendo boy. I was lucky enough to have the Game Boy and Super Nintendo growing up. However, I also had a couple of good friends that had the Genesis, the Mega Drive, where I'm from. And one of the things that always struck me a little bit different about the Mega Drive compared to the SNES and the Game Boy was the games. The way that they looked inside their cases, and in particular some of the way the cartridges looked. They would vary between publisher, between game, and my friends and I would spend time, hours, perhaps not hours, coming up with theories as to why this was. Was there some kind of secret chip inside the cartridge to help them be better than the games on the Super Nintendo? Was it just a marketing ploy? Was it actually anything at all? Well, today we're going to take a little look at these 6 games and just see how they vary. Is it just the artwork? Is it the cartridge? Or is it something completely different altogether? So the first game we're going to take a look at is Disney's Fantasia. Now, this isn't a game I've played personally, not yet. However, by the time this video goes out, I will have filmed some footage and you're going to be watching it just there, like some voodoo. There we go. Now, Disney's Fantasia, as I've said. This comes in what I will call a traditional Mega Drive case. This is the kind of thing that I would picture when thinking about a Mega Drive game. The branding, everything just screams to me classic Mega Drive. The cartridge, it's sort of iconic size, label there, okay. We've got the sort of branding on the front for Sega games and the information on the back, you know, with the 4 panels and the text. This is what I will call your standard Sega game. However, there were some games that look more like this. And again, voodoo, we're going to have some footage going on there while I'm looking at this one. This Mega Drive game, it's not got the particular branding that we have on the front. Full page, full size of the box, showing the artwork. Still on the back, the 4 panels. Actually, there's only 3 this time. Text. However, we can see the difference, okay? Cartridge, still the same. Plastic, actually, on this one feels a little bit different. It's got a bit of a roughing to it. It's not as smooth as this cartridge, but again, quite similar. Moving on to the EA Sports cartridges. Now, I'm sure that people that are watching this video are very familiar with the PGA Tour, how it got its sort of early start on the Mega Drive and the 16-bit systems. EA Sports cartridges always came with this little bit of plastic and a different sized cartridges, and it was this game that first piqued my friends and I's interest in thinking, what is going on here? What is this here? We would say it's some weird chip. Don't touch it, don't pull it out. I think actually it's not anything. It's just a bit of plastic. It's just the way it's been designed, but it did the job. It made you think, actually, there's something different going on here. On the back, completely different layout this time compared to these 2 games. Panels, text, completely different. And obviously we can see the size difference in cartridge there. I will just pause a minute to highlight this. Look at this. Does anything scream 1990s more than the CRT setup, the Mega Drive, stack system? And then we've got this golf controller where you can use the special stick to smack it as hard as you can and transfers that into the game. A precursor to what would come with things, add-ons for the PlayStation and ultimately the Wii and the Switch. A little bit of bonus there. Right, staying on the subject of funky looking cartridges. Codemasters. Different shape entirely to the original 2 and the EA Sports one. We've got this beautiful round edges with all the artwork coming in the middle, nothing on top this time. And actually, what this is just reminding me of, and luckily I've got this to hand, is the Micro Machines 2 cartridge that actually had the functionality to connect 2 extra controllers, so you could play 4 players. Actually, it claimed you could play 8 players. We all know that was one person controlling left and right, and one person controlling forward and backwards. Look, 2 players on 1 joypad. Well, you know, you could have that with any game. But anyway, I digress. So Codemasters opting for this sort of smooth angle towards the top, but then on the Micro Machines cart, actually adding in those extra ports. Right, rewinding a little bit with regards to cartridge design, however, moving further along with the cover design, the blue Mega Drive design, something that the Mega Drive would see in later years as its more traditional branding as it moved towards the end of its life. So we've moved away from this style of artwork with the black and white sort of trim, and they've moved into this blue era. Not a fan, if I was honest. This was more my cup of tea, but do you know what? It still looks good. Panels moved over to the right hand side now, again just for a little bit of differentiation, but sticking with the 4 panels, very similar to how it did with Fantasia. And then the last thing we're going to look at, which I didn't know even existed until I saw it. Mind you, you can say that about anything. Does anybody really know if anything exists until they see it or hear about it? I digress. Mega Drive games in a cardboard box. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Now I've, luckily enough, come across 4 of these recently. Universal Soldier, the Winter Challenge, Warp Speed, and the Dual Test Drive 2. All being published, I believe, by Accolade. Yeah, coming in cardboard boxes. Didn't even know that was a thing. I always thought this was saved for Spectrum, Commodore, Amstrad type games of the 90s, and then things on floppy disk. But no, apparently in 1992 onwards, games would come. I mean, fantastic. And cartridge size, a lot more closer to the sides of the EA Sports cartridges. Actually, is that some sort of coincidence? The fact that there's an EA Sports catalogue inside this thing, and the cartridges are almost identical in size. Is that a coincidence, or does Accolade have something to do with EA Sports? Leave me a bit of information in the commentary, in the comments, if you've got some information on that. I'm going to do some research on that as well, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was one that I've sort of just thrown together at the last minute when I've decided to take a big look at this hoard of games that I've just recently picked up to go in the collection. And as I was going through them, I thought, you know what? I'd like to take a look at these and compare them and see what other people's thoughts are. So again, if you've got any of your own thoughts, drop me some information in the comments. Tell me what you think. Do you even care if the cartridges are different? Did you have any theories when you were growing up? Any wild theories? So yeah, like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Bit of a random one I've just thrown together. But if you did like it, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. And you can get those notifications when I get more crazy ideas for videos. Okay? Laters.